What is up, everybody? It is Wick here, and I'm going to show you some things you can look for at garage sales, rummage sales, thrift stores. Spring is here, which means it's going to get really busy for me. Within the next month, there's just going to be a ton of rummage sales, a ton of garage sales, community sales starting up. I also still need to do my taxes, which I'm probably going to do after I record this video. So I wanted to record a video real quick so I can get one up on YouTube, but I'm going to give you some ideas on some of this stuff to look for. A lot of things that people don't want to deal with, or they just don't know to deal with. They walk past them, they're looking for the better stuff. A lot of part-time resellers, I guess, really don't want to mess with these things. So the first thing are these Bernina sewing machine feet. And I picked up a sewing machine. It was worth about $600, $700, and it had a bunch of these feet with it. I started looking up some of the comps and I'm like, wow, these are amazing. And there's going to be a lot of you that are just familiar with this stuff. I don't know anything about sewing. I just knew I looked up this sewing machine and it was $100 and I could sell it for $700, $800. I already sold one walking foot, which I got $100 for. Paid for the whole sewing machine. Look at some of these feet here. I believe I have this one. You can see they got numbers on them. $72.99, kind of crazy. $59.99 for this one, $54.99. And the ones I got, I looked up and I listed, and I'm going to make about $400 just on these. So it's a nice bonus to find something like this in a sewing machine lot, I guess. There's just a little tackle box that was filled with extra pieces. So I went ahead and pulled these out, but this is the type of thing that honestly could just be in a bag at a rummage sale or a garage sale. So it's something that's on my radar now. When you think about it, every niche has like a special brand. I think Bernina is probably one of the top brands in the sewing world. You know, fishing stuff, hunting stuff, paintball, airsoft, anything like that. Any niche always has good brands that you can look for, different pieces and parts. And it's just not Bernina brand. Of course, there's Singer. There's different ones, different brands. Some of this stuff is worth picking up. So it's definitely on my radar now. And of course, here's some of the sewing machines. And anything high end like this, you can sell for parts. Even if you walk past one of these and it says doesn't work or not working, it's worth looking up the model because it's an easy flip. If you can make money selling the parts, you don't have to test it or anything like that. You just list it as is. But like I said, the one I found at a garage sale, I'll be able to sell the sewing machine for $700, and then I'm selling the parts for at least $400. So it's about $1,000 deal. I also got some of these walking shoes, walking feet. I don't know the terminology. You don't have to be knowledgeable about anything as long as you have a smartphone and look up stuff. Once you discover something like this and it starts sticking out like a sore thumb, and what I did was like this. I believe I have this exact one. I just used Google Lens and done a search, found it, and started looking on eBay for comps, and it's like, wow, that's worth a lot of money. That's worth more than what I paid for the sewing machine. And not just the sewing machine feet, you also have things like the foot pedals. Anytime I see a sewing machine, I look at the foot pedals, I look at the model, because even if the sewing machine's wrecked, some of the foot pedals can be good money. And I'm showing you the Bernina stuff here. Of course, there's all kinds of brands where you can sell foot pedals anywhere from $20 to $50 to $100. I believe the foot pedal I have is worth about $120 just by itself. Again, worth more than what I paid for the whole sewing machine. So it's just a great pickup when you're paying attention to the pieces more so than the whole lot. And I think if I was to lot all this together, I would just make less money because people wouldn't be willing to pay that much for it because not everybody needs these expensive feet. I guess it depends on what they're sewing. So I'm just going to sell the sewing machine with a few of the pieces that go with it, the instruction manuals and stuff like that. Instruction manuals on these high-end units also sell for $20, $30, sometimes $40, so they're worth looking into. But that's just kind of an idea of how much money you can make on sewing stuff if you just happen to, find the right thing. Another thing you can look for are things like these drip pan replacements for better coffee makers. A lot of times you see old coffee makers at a garage sale. You might look up the model and you see that the coffee maker is only selling for maybe $20, $30. But then you start looking at the parts, and some of these replacement trays for these things can sell $40 here, $35. It just depends on the model. You always have to do your research. And a lot of these parts do become saturated. If it's a very common coffee maker that they're going to be selling at Walmart or something, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have bought them, you probably don't want to try to part them out because it's just going to be too much stuff. But the more rare models is where the money's at. And honestly, I see all the time, and I should be pulling over, but I see all the time in the trash, you see coffee makers and small appliances, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to buy that. Ooh, I got a sale. I don't want to buy that and clean it or anything like that, but if you just pull it over, look it up, or just grab it if it's in the trash, you can make a good amount of money on the parts. I just recently bought one of these Nespresso machines, and yeah, I can make more money parting it out, honestly. But the one I bought's so clean, I think I'm just going to sell the whole unit rather than wait for each individual piece to sell. But a lot of people will just walk past an old dirty coffee machine, not even consider, what the pieces or parts could be worth. And of course, I've talked about bread machines before in the past. Some of these better bread machines, you can really make decent money. You can see some of these Zojirushi bread makers, which I've sold in the past. Great money on the pan and the paddle. And these paddles is kind of where the money's at in a lot of these, because they're what's getting lost. And I've sold so many of these. I've bought bread makers, just paid $5 for them at a thrift store just to harvest the paddles and the pans. A really good unit. You can sell the lids. Even the screws that go in them. I've sold manuals for some of these bread makers for 10, 15 bucks. Again, not every bread maker for sure is going to be worth picking up. There's so many different pieces on there for some of these more common ones, but the higher end stuff, especially these dual ones with both paddles, you can just see if you're getting this stuff cheap at a rummage sale for a couple bucks, it adds up. It's not that much work. If it's dirty, sure, wipe the pan down a little bit. I see people pass these all the time. They just don't want to deal with them. So, sometimes I pass them up. I don't want to deal with them. If I got a lot of stuff I'm finding, it's mid garage sale season and I don't need to pick up this bread maker, just to make 20 or 30 bucks. Usually I'll pass it at a rummage sale. I don't want to carry it around as just better stuff. But if I'm in like a thrift store and I see one for $2 and it's like, I can just buy this, carry it out to my car, harvest the parts. It's not that bad to me. Another thing people don't want to mess with is some of these older vintage vacuums. They pass them up. They're dirty. They're kind of nasty because they've got a bunch of junk in them where people have been vacuuming their home. You never know what people are vacuuming up. A lot of pet hair, stuff like that. They're definitely a pain to clean. But if you are harvesting some of the attachment parts, the canisters, the hoses, I recently found an Electrolux at Goodwill. I think I paid $7 or $8 for it. And I sold the power head for, I think, $100. The canister was damaged. I could have sold that for probably over $100, but I just threw that away. And the hose set, I think I got like $50. I don't remember exactly now. Of course, you can sell the whole vacuum as well, but honestly, cleaning and testing and setting all that up, I'm not really into shipping something like that. I think you can make just as much money parting it out, if not more. It's usually the case. Of course, every model, everything is going to be kind of different just based on, the model. And here's a power head. I found these power heads at thrift stores too, just for newer vacuums like Shark or even Dyson or something like that. And I've sold for around $100. And not just these high-end ones. There's other ones, just like random upright ones from Bissell that the hoses can sell for. The caddies, I don't see any caddies here that they sit on. This actually looks like the one that I might have sold. I'm not sure. But I've made a lot of money off of vacuum parts over the years. So I think in a lot of cases, they are worth picking up. Of course, Kirby, Rainbow, all these old brands that people like, you can just see there's all kinds of good money to be made in a lot of these parts. You can let me know in the comments if you buy this type of stuff. I'm just curious on who buys things to part out. So power cords, power supplies, speaker cords, all that kind of stuff that Bose makes is incredible money. You can see some of these like center links here, $50, $34 for cables. Usually these cables are going to say Bose on them. A lot of people, they see a box at a garage sale filled with cables. They don't really look at it, right? Spend some time looking at these cables, because I recently dug through some cables in a Goodwill box and found I think it was a power supply, a Bose power supply I sold for like $30 or $40. You can see kind of how they look. They got kind of a unique look, and I believe almost all of them say Bose on the little metal piece. Also, I see a lot of Bose stuff at garage sales that's just beat up and it doesn't work. Bose stuff doesn't seem like it holds very good quality. Like it seems like I always find stuff broken, or stuff I buy is broken. But again, even if you walk by something that's $20 Bose and it says doesn't work, consider the cables, consider parting it out. A lot of these, like this Wave unit here, doesn't even have the cable. For parts only, just $30. I mean, there's just money in it. Of course, the Bose remotes and stuff like this, I don't know why this remote's $450. I don't think that's right. There's something fishy about that one. But yeah, buying lots of Bose speakers and pieces, not just Bose, like Sony, the remotes and everything here. You can see you start getting into the remote prices, $65, $70, $62 for some of these Bose remotes. I would say, like, if I was at a garage sale and I come across a Bose, well, obviously a Bose remote, but like even a Sony Pioneer, maybe even some Panasonic remotes for speaker systems. If they're anywhere between a quarter and maybe $1 or two, I just buy them blind because you can almost always sell those for, $10 shipped, like the lowest price, maybe like $8 shipped, so you never really lose money. But so many of them sell between $20 and $30. I would love to know how much money I've made in remotes over the years. I found some really good ones. I think the best one I sold for over $200. I believe I got that for like 50 cents at a garage sale. People also like to buy the genuine ones, not the knockoff. Like there's so many Chinese remotes. Like you could probably get this Bose remote, one that works, Chinese made, and it would be like $10 or something new. But people want the original brand name stuff because they're buying this stuff for the name, for the quality. So they pay up for this kind of stuff. But there it is, everybody. There's some ideas. Hopefully you can apply to your strategies of reselling. Now, unfortunately, I have to start doing my taxes. I don't want to put it off any longer. But if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. Let me know in the comments if you learned something, if you picked this stuff up. I know there's a lot of newer sellers that watch my channel, a lot of seasoned pros that watch my channel, so I try to put content out for both. But again, thank you for watching. Hit that like button. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, flipping_junk. And this has been Wick. Till next time.